Ever wondered why some songs just sound better? Like the vocals are wrapping you in a sonic embrace? Well, my friends, the answer lies in two simple letters: EQ. If you want to make your vocals shine, stick around. I've got a cheat sheet that's going to make your vocals sound amazing. Hello, my name is Maddie, and today we're gonna crack open a can of whoop-ass on one of the most overlooked, underappreciated, but ridiculously essential parts of music production: vocal EQ. Yeah, you heard me right, vocal EQ. It's like the quiet kid in class that nobody really pays attention to until one day they pick up a guitar and blow everyone's minds. That's what vocal EQ can do for your vocals. It's the secret sauce. It's the cherry on top. It's the freaking cherry on top of the secret sauce. But like everything else in music and in life, it's not about the tools, but it's about how you use them. And that's why we're here today, to give the quiet kid the stage, to turn up the volume and let it rip. And stay tuned, folks. This is the vocal EQ guide that you didn't know you needed. And as a bonus, I've got a killer vocal EQ cheat sheet that you can download from my website for completely free. Doesn't love a good cheat sheet. Let's hop in. So before we dive into the deep end, let's talk basics. What the hell is EQ? Well, my friends, EQ stands for equalization. It's like the sound's personal trainer. It's what you use to beef up the skinny parts, trim down the flabby parts, and generally make your track sound like it's been hitting the gym, or in other words, sound really good. The frequency spectrum ranges from low bass frequencies to high treble frequencies, with the mid-range nestled in the center. As a sound engineer or music producer, you have the power to control the volume of each of these frequencies with EQ. When it comes to vocals specifically, the power of EQ is even more profound. As humans, we perceive other human voices better than any instrument out there. Getting the right balance is essential for getting a professional sounding song. It's all about knowing which frequencies to boost, which frequencies to cut, and which frequencies to leave the hell alone. So buckle up, kids. It's time to take a trip down the EQ rabbit hole, and trust me, it's deeper than you think. To understand vocal EQ better, I want you to picture a 5-layer sandwich. Each layer of our audio sandwich giving a unique flavor. Down below, we've got our base, the meat of the sandwich providing low end and fullness. Then we climb to the low mids. Think of this as our cheese. It adds depth, it adds warmth, and if unchecked, muddiness to our sound. Next up, we've got the mid-range. This is the crunchy lettuce, bringing forward the body of your vocals. Above that, we've got the high mid frequencies, the tomatoes of the sandwich. These guys can add clarity or induce ear fatigue with too much of their tanginess. And finally, the treble or the air, the sprinkling of the seasons on top. They're responsible for the breathiness or the sibilance of the voice, which left unchecked can be like biting into a sandwich full of raw onions, or in this case, pickles. But hey, enough food talk, let's hear some sound bites. Here's a vocal track soloed from a song that I've made. Listen to what happens as we boost the bass frequencies. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone, so I'll stay right here till the bar. Hear that? That's the equivalent of biting into a meaty, hearty sandwich. It's warm, it's rich, but it's probably too much. Kind of like a sandwich that has all bread, all meat, and nothing else. Now let's tweak the high mid frequencies of this vocal and hear how the voice starts to pop out. As we add more of this high mid, the vocals are going to become piercing. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone, so I'll stay right here till the bar is closed. Come with me. That's the zing, my friends. But crank it up too high and it's like biting into a chili pepper. Every part of the spectrum has a specific role to play for the vocals, and it's up to us, the brave sandwich chefs of sound, to find the perfect recipe for each track. It's a delicate balance, folks. But now it's time to learn the art of this culinary craft. Now that we've had our culinary adventure with EQ, let's dial it back and put it all together. And what better way to do that with a handy dandy vocal EQ cheat sheet? Once again, if you want to follow along, you can download it from my website for free. Think of this as your secret sauce. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but it's a really damn good place to start. This cheat sheet highlights key starting points for EQing different types of vocals, breaking down the spectral recipe of what you need to whip up the sound you want. For each different area of the frequency spectrum, we've labeled what each section sounds like with too much or too little of that frequency. Too much 300 to 600 hertz, that will give you a boxy sound. too little of 5K to 8K, your vocal will be hard to understand. These slew of adjectives are a little overwhelming and are all subjective, but these are the same words professional engineers use when they're talking about their sound. Learn them and you'll be able to chop it up with the best of them. But remember folks, and this is important, the cheat sheet is a starting point and not the law. It's the recipe on the back of the box and you're the chef at a 5-star restaurant. You've got to taste, adjust, and taste again. Every vocal is unique, every track is unique, and every EQ will be different because of it. Use the cheat sheet as the roadmap, but don't be afraid to go off-road. Experiment with these ranges to see what sounds good for your voice. And that's what will make your tracks truly stand out. It's time to stop talking and start doing. We've got a fresh track here that's crying out for some sweet EQ love. Let's lend an ear to the raw EQ'd vocals. This is the same track we were working with before, but listen closely to what they sound like without any EQ at all. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone, so I'll stay right here till the bar is closed. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. We're going to use our trusty cheat sheet to guide us through these vocal EQs, but remember, we're not following it to the letter, we're just using it as a guide. First off, we'll listen to the vocal's key characteristics. Are they male or female? Clean or distorted? Front and center or playing a supporting role? In this case, we have a male lead vocal, clean and right up front. So we'll start there. Next, we'll check our cheat sheet. In this particular voice, I'm hearing a lot of muddiness and too much warmth in the bottom end. It sounds a little bit boomy. And if I check my cheat sheet at the body, too much of 100 to 300 hertz sounds booby. Also, according to my cheat sheet, for vocals, this sub-frequency is something that I can cut out. I'm going to add a low cut and I'm going to dip out around 100 to 300 and see where our vocals are standing. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone, so I'll stay right here till the bar is closed. Come with me if you want to, we can drink away our problems. I still think the vocal sounds a little bit boxy, so I'm going to take a little bit of 300 and 600 hertz out. I also want to add in some air into this vocal to make it sound like the pop song I know that this is. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone, so I'll stay right here till the bar is closed. We'll dial in those changes, listening carefully as we go. A little cut here, a little boost here, and bada bang, our vocal is sounding better already. Now the moment of truth, I'm going to A-B this so you can hear the before and after. Here's the before. I'd rather be drinking than thinking alone. And here's the after. I'll stay right here till the bar is closed. Come with me if you want to. We can drink away our problems. We don't have to think about them. No, if we don't want to. Hear the difference? It's subtle, but it's there. The vocals are clearer, more present, and more alive. Now, normally I would add in other things in this vocal chain like delay and reverb to really make the vocals stand out of the mix, but that's for a different video. Remember, the cheat sheet is your friend, but your ears are your best mixing tool. All right, cool cats, you've got the cheat sheet, you've seen it in action, but what about the secret sauce, the pro tips, the icing on the cake? First, let's dive in. The first tip, always remember, it's easier to subtract frequencies than it is to add them. I always recommend trying to cut problem frequencies before boosting any frequencies to get the sound you want. Most of the time, getting rid of the bad problem frequencies is going to sound better than boosting the ones that are already there. Next up is the art of sweeping. Occasionally when we record vocals or any instrument, we get standing nodes in the room, and that can be exemplified in the harmonic structure of our EQ. That's fancy talk for saying sometimes there are frequencies that sound bad. To find these, we can make our EQ a narrow band like this and go through and find out any problem frequency. You'll know when you find one because it's going to sound really terrible. What you can do is you can dip that same frequency down, maybe even make it a bit more narrow to get rid of those harmonic information that sounds unpleasant. Goodbye problem, hello cleaner sound. For this next tip, I wish I knew it sooner because I've done this so many times I lost track. While we're all on the hunt for that killer sound, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, just like over EQing. A little goes a long way, my friends, and if you're trying to fix a sound with minus 12 dB here and plus 10 dB here, I encourage you to go back to the recording stage or choose a different sample in the first place. There's only so much EQ can do to help the sonic shape of your original sound. Get it right in the recording stage first so you don't have to over-process it with EQ later. An EQ curve like this is not what you're looking for. Go back, re-record it till you get it right. Too much EQ is like putting Monet through an Instagram filter. Sure, you can do it, but should you? For the next tip, don't forget context. Context is key. Sure, the vocal sounds good by itself, but how does it sound in the rest of the mix? Always EQ with the mix in mind. Hell, always EQ the voice while listening to the rest of the song. You'll never experience the voice by itself when you listen to the song as a whole, so why would you EQ it like that? In the end, it's not about how the voice sounds by itself, but how the mix sounds as a whole. And lastly, remember that your mic is an important part of this equation. A cheap mic might add unwanted color to your vocals, while a high-end one might bring out every single nuance. Consider your recording source before even starting your EQ. I've listed both some budget and high quality options for microphones I recommend in the description below if you want to check them out. Well, my friends, our sonic journey is coming to an end, but before we head out, let's recap what we've learned today. Today, we've navigated the wide world of vocal EQ. We've learned how different frequencies affect vocals, got our hands on a vocal EQ cheat sheet to help us out, and then even put it to a test with a live demo. We've also dished out some tips and tricks for you to help you along the way and some common pitfalls to avoid. But we're not stopping there. If you want to take this adventure with you, then you can download our vocal EQ cheat sheet for free from our website. If you found this video helpful, give us a like, share it with your fellow audio aficionados, and hit that subscribe button. And hey, drop us a comment below. What's your go-to EQ technique? What other audio adventures would you like us to embark on? Till next time, keep creating, keep exploring. This is Maddie signing off. Peace.